Jarrett Stidham, the presumed starter in New England until Cam Newton came along in late June. Stidham at practice yesterday had 3 interceptions. Remember when Marcus Mariota was a rookie in Tennessee 4 years ago?
Right.
5 years ago, 2015. God, we're old. 5 years ago it was that Marcus Mariota, it's been that long, that it was every day the breathless headline, no interceptions yet in practice for Marcus Mariota. No interceptions yet. Well, Jarrett Stidham had 3 yesterday in practice for the New England Patriots. And look, Aaron Rodgers, I recall at the time, Chris, was very blunt about this. I want to throw interceptions in practice. That's how I determine how big the windows are with my receivers.
Sure.
That's how I figure out how much I can trust my receivers. I'm going to throw interceptions. That's the time to do it. Now, I don't know why Jarrett Stidham threw 3 interceptions yesterday, but it becomes noteworthy when you're competing with Cam Newton and Brian Hoyer, and they're rotating. They're splitting the reps. 1, 2, 3. The problem is it keeps the guy who's eventually going to be the starter from being as prepared as he could be. What do you read into first, the notion that Jarrett Stidham had 3 interceptions at practice?
I don't read really anything into it other than, it's like hashtag as expected. Yeah, you mean, the guy who's taken over for Tom Brady and hasn't played a lot of NFL football going against, one of the greatest defensive coaches and probably definitely the best secondary in football with a lot of young pieces on offense to go along with Stidham who are learning it. I'm not shocked by that. It's news because it is Cam Newton and Jarrett Stidham and the Patriots and Tom Brady's not there. So I understand that. But to me, what I always want to go when I hear these type of stories is the context of the interceptions, right? That's the first thing I want to hear. Was one a perfectly thrown ball and it, bounced off the receiver's hands and got intercepted? Was one a time where the receiver was supposed to break in and he broke out? And Jarrett, so those are the things I need to hear to then understand the context of the interceptions and what's going on there, let alone, hey, listen, sometimes you have themes in a day. I was there in a year when New England in the OTAs, Mike, where, they because Brady was unwilling to push the ball down the field, They were willing to have him do that and pass up incompletions and practice and do things because this is what they wanted to work on. So you never know, too, whether the coach went, hey, no checkdowns today. I want us to push the ball down the field. I want you to test these corners. I want to see what our receivers got. So some of those interceptions, maybe that was said before a period. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm just throwing out different things that could be the possibility. So where we don't just go, oh, Jarrett Stidham stinks. He threw 3 interceptions. Bench him. Cam Newton's a starter. It's over. I'm just trying to add some context to that situation.
When you were there, did they also practice with footballs having different degrees of inflation? Did they do that too? See which would be best.
I'm not going to start.
I'm
Don't
kidding.
Get me going, Florio.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. And I'm on record as, number one, the whole thing was a sham, and number two, who cares how much air's in the football? The whole idea is we want to make it easy to throw the football. Matt Casey says next.
Yes.
Hey, Matt Casey, I got the microphone. I'll keep talking
tell
about
him. That's right.
I choose not to.
Shut it, Matt
Casey. I choose to move on.
Now,
remember last year, the guy that threw 5 interceptions
went
in one
to the
practice?
Super Bowl,
he ended
right?
up in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Jimmy
right.
Garoppolo. Of course, he didn't make the one throw that would have made him the Super Bowl champion potentially, unless and until Patrick Mahomes drove down the field with the winning touchdown, which is probably what would have happened anyway. I mean, that's probably the one postscript to Jimmy Garoppolo missing Emmanuel Sanders when he was open for the go-ahead score. Probably Patrick Mahomes goes down the field and wins the game based upon what we saw from Mahomes leading up to that point, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you throw interceptions in practice, unless, like you said, it's all on the quarterback, and you can't tell without knowing the context of the practice, the specifics of the throw, why the guy threw the interceptions. And the reality is, Stidham, Hoyer, Newton are in it. And I mentioned the platoon possibility last segment for the Bears. Mike Reiss of ESPN.com has floated the possibility as opinion analysis, but sometimes we hear things that we can't report.
Yeah.
Sometimes our guesswork is more than that, and you just have to tread lightly because you don't want to compromise sources. Mike Reiss suggesting that maybe there will be a platoon system when we get to the regular season, and it won't surprise me. And if Belichick does it, he'll be a genius because he's already a genius. But the idea is we can't fully evaluate these guys until we see them against someone else. We can't practice against someone else. We can't play against someone else until week 1. So we have to use those games that count as part of the proving ground to determine who the best guy is going to be down the stretch. And if any team is going to voluntarily maybe start a little slowly in the hope of being better later,
yeah, it's them.
For strategic reasons, it's the Patriots.
Right. No, you're right. And you know, again, I'm not in favor of the platoon thing, but I certainly could see New England of all teams, whether the Stidham or Cam Newton was the starter, where you could see packages with both of them on the football field. I would not be shocked. I mean, first off, you know, you've heard me complain since our years of working. Why is it that the team that's dominated the last 2 decades is also the team that's willing to do trick plays and trick formations consistently? And not just in like week 3 in a meaningless game when they're up 21-0, but like in divisional playoff games and, you know, big
down
time
14.
moments. Right, down 14 to the Ravens and like, hey, we're going to throw a pass to Julian Edelman and he's going to throw it down the field. What? Boy, that's kind of a big moment. So, yeah, I could see them messing with defenses early on and having a few well thought out packages to where, hey, they don't know what to expect. Is this a screen? Is this a quarterback throwback? Whatever it is, I would not be shocked. And you're right. Mike Reiss, he seems to always have a beat on New England. And when he says those things, you're right. Your ears perk up because you go, he might know something.
And, you know, what if that uncertainty, that lingering uncertainty, is part of the ongoing effort to reshape Cam Newton after 9 years of potentially being coddled? Remember the Kyle Love take?
Yeah.
Coddled in Carolina as the number 1 overall pick, and now he's in New England where they don't coddle anyone. Maybe it's not enough to just let him linger on the free agent market and have him take a below-market contract and have him become humbled by those circumstances. Maybe these circumstances get him to the finished product where he's got to fight and scratch and claw and work for everything, and he has to push himself to a higher level. It's not just good enough to be better than Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer. That's not your bar.
That's right.
Right? So we want you to push even more. So we're going to make you think you're not separating from those guys, so you'll push even more.
I mean, that would go down in a place like New England. No doubt about that. You're right. They're not going to let him feel like, oh, this is yours. You're king here. Relax. You know, sit back in your chair. You're the starter. No, that will not happen. They're going to continue to keep their foot on the gas pedal as an organization, and they'll find the right pressure and through their analysis of knowing Cam Newton, what they've heard, being around him now, to where that right, pressure point with him is, to what you're saying, to where, ooh, this is good needling, this is making him better, and not crossing over to going, oh, it's actually a bad thing. Now we're ruining the guy's confidence, or, we're patting him on the back too much, and now he's too confident or whatever. So I would not be shocked by that type of approach by New England, especially at this point of training camp.
It's what they did to Tom Brady for 20 years.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Right.
They did it for 20 years to the point where he couldn't take it anymore. He took it for 20 years, but he had enough of it. And now they've got a finished product of Tom Brady down in Tampa Bay, who comes from 2 decades of the needling and the strategic. I mean, that's the thing. Everything that team does is strategic.
Yes.
And the players are just the pawns in affecting the strategy of putting guys out there who are going to help you win games. So you do what you have to do. You tell the story all the time about Julian Edelman, or was it Wes Welker?
Right.
Wes Welker. They want to get him pissed off. They know he plays better when he's pissed off.
No doubt.
And so piss him off.
Yeah.
Get him upset. And so, I feel like this is all part of a broader play to get the most out of Cam Newton, and also just to test him, just to see what we have here. Because, if he truly has matured past the point where he's going to walk around with that "this isn't my day" demeanor if he throws an interception in the first quarter, we want to see that come out. We want to deal with that guy in practice. We want that guy to be fixed now.
Yeah.
So if he does throw an interception on the first drive of the game, we haven't lost him mentally for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's right. You start to build that now, because in your logic and what New England knows is they're going to go, well, it's going to be a lot more nerve-wracking when we're down 10 in the AFC Championship game. So if you can't bounce back from, this interception here in training camp or early on in the season and build on that to become better and more focused and not, like you said, go down this wormhole of maybe poutiness to a degree at times, then he's not going to be the guy for New England. But I think this is a motivated guy, certainly, ready to go. I think New England wants to make it work. And, the more I think about it too, Mike, is Cam Newton, Jarrett Stidham, hey, they're going to learn the meat and potatoes of that New England offense. But I even think like the finished product of the offense, whether it's Cam Newton or Stidham, I don't think is going to look a whole lot different. I don't. I think it's going to be a similar look no matter what, which is a good thing if you're a Patriots fan, because you don't have to worry about, like, right now, hey, we're practicing one offense, but this guy's going to be the starter and the offense is going to be different if he's the starter. No, I don't think that'll be the case. Stidham's a pretty damn good athlete, and he's a power thrower like Cam Newton. So I would think they're going to build it off of running the football, some trickery behind the line of scrimmage, some movement of the quarterback. And when they do throw it, it's not going to be Julian Edelman 5 yards over the middle. I think you're going to see more 20-yard out routes, comebacks, things like that.
And possibly a platoon of Stidham and Newton as we get into the games that count coming up in fewer than 4 weeks.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.